Is your business idea dying in the nursery? This is God's plan for you. Have you ever had one of those business ideas that just you just knew was from God, only to watch it gasp for air and struggle in its earliest moments? It feels like a dream, like your dream was dying in the nursery, and that feeling can make you question everything that you thought you heard. But what if I told you that this nursery isn't a graveyard for your idea, but a training ground designed by God Himself? Remember this: God's nursery isn't a graveyard, it's a gymnasium. So let's unpack the biblical game plan for not just surviving these early days, but for building a foundation that will actually last. Your first action step: before we go any further, take a moment to identify one core fear that you have about your business right now. Write it down. And next to it, write this truth. Say, this is a training ground. All right. It's one of the most painful gut punches for a faith driven entrepreneur. You get a vision, a spark, what feels like a divine download for a business that you have believed that will change lives and glorify God. You feel the passion, you see the potential, and you take the first scary step of faith. And then crickets. Those first few steps are met with slammed doors. The initial buzz fades into a quiet, grinding struggle. And what felt like a clear calling now feels like a confusing cosmic mistake. Can you feel me? Welcome to the nursery stage. It's where tender new ideas face their first real test of wind and weather. And honestly, it's where so many faith-based ventures wither before they ever get a chance to bloom. The pain of it is real. It's a spiritual and an emotional blender. You start asking the hard questions. God, did I hear you wrong? Was this just my own ego? Am I just not cut out for this? Yeah. See, the fear of failure becomes this giant. It's casting a shadow over the promise that you held so dearly. And it's a lonely place, isn't it? You scroll through social media and you see others whose businesses seem to be exploding, and the comparison game starts stealing your joy and just crippling your confidence. So this is that moment where the dream meets the dirt and you're left wondering if it was ever meant to be planted at all. But this is exactly where we need to flip the script. See, because the Bible shows us again and again that this nursery, this place of being hidden, of being tested, of what looks like failure, is not an accident. So don't mistake the dirt for the grave. Please don't do that. It's a critical part of God's design. It's not a prison, it's a promotion in process, right? It's not punishment, it's preparation. So here's what I want you to do: to fight the comparison, mute or unfollow 3 social media accounts that tempt you to compare your journey. Use the time to get back to pray, specifically asking God to affirm His unique vision for you. All right? So let's go into the proving ground of the nursery. We have to think about Joseph. See, he was given a dream. You guys remember that? A full color vision, as a matter of fact, of leadership and influence when he was just 17. So what happened next? Yeah, you remember. Did he get a corner office and a team to manage? Absolutely not. He got thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and then framed and tossed into prison, right? For 13 years, his reality was the polar opposite of his promise. His dream wasn't just in a nursery, it was in a dungeon. See, the world could call that a catastrophic failure. But scripture is clear. The Lord was with Joseph. That's good to know. He's going to be with you too. right? See, that prison wasn't a detour, it was his training ground. It was in that hidden, difficult place that God was forging his character. You know, we like to say your abilities can take you where your character can't keep you. He needed character. He learned humility, patience, and how to steward tiny responsibilities faithfully. God prepares the person before he presents the platform. Let me say that one again. God prepares the person before he presents the platform. God was preparing Joseph for the assignment, not just handing him a title. Or let's go from Joseph and look at David. He was anointed king, but didn't go from the shepherd's field to the throne room immediately. That's not what happened. He went back into the wilderness. He was hunted by Saul, learning to depend on God for his every move. And this wasn't a setback. It was God pulling back the arrow on a bow to build the tension required for power and impact. The wilderness was David's nursery. Now, I will tell you, I like the fact that he could have cut off the corner. Okay, never mind. But he didn't. All right. The nursery stage is no different. It is God's chosen classroom for you. That's right. It's the classroom for you. Proverbs, the 24th chapter and the 10th verse says that if you falter in a time of trouble, how small is your strength? See, the nursery is designed to build your spiritual muscle so that you can carry the weight of the success that God has waiting for you. So here's what I want you to do now. Identify one character area, like patience, humility, or resilience, that this season is testing. So instead of praying for the trial to end, pray, God, what are you trying to build in me right now through this challenge? And point of personal privilege here, when I was going through with my middle daughter, the one that passed away, I remember crying out to God saying, what am I supposed to learn? Give me the answers to the test. I will give you, if it's multiple choice, tell me what to say. If it's an essay, tell me what to write. But I was asking him, what am I supposed to be learning in the midst of all of this? It was a nursery situation. All right. First things first, though, you have to nurture the actual idea, the seed itself. You're in the nursery. See, a nursery is for cultivating specific chosen plants. Your first step as a faith-driven entrepreneur isn't to hustle, it's to discern. See, hustle follows holiness, not the other way around. Before a business plan, you need to clarify the God-given vision, anchoring your identity in being a child of God, not a successful entrepreneur, not a queenpreneur, not a kingdompreneur, not a successful entrepreneur, but a child of God. We have to commit our work to the Lord. It says it in Proverbs, the 16th chapter and the 3rd verse. And then our plans will be established, right? This starts with prayer, not just asking God to bless our plans, but asking to be a part of his plan. In other words, we're partnering. The nurturing phase is about defining your why from a kingdom perspective. What problem is God calling you to solve? Who has he put on your heart to serve? Your business is a ministry platform. This means that the idea must be rooted in service. You build with integrity from day one, not as a business tactic, but as an act of worship. Be fair in your dealings. Be honest in your marketing. This phase is all about making sure the seed that you're planting is one that he gave you. So, action step for you now. I want you to write one sentence, kingdom mission statement. You're writing this one sentence kingdom mission statement. And here's the template for you. So fill in the blank and then you're going to identify my business or my offer, right? You're going to fill that in. I will serve And then you're going to identify the specific group of people that you're serving. By solving, then you're going to identify the specific problem as an act of worship. And I'll put the statement below too in the description. So here it is again, your one sentence kingdom mission statement. Through my business or offer, I will serve a specific group of people by solving a specific problem as an act of worship. All right. Now that we've got the God-given seed, now what? Well, you can't just leave it out there in the open, right? It needs structure to protect it. This is the planning phase. It's time to build the greenhouse. That's right. An idea without a structure will be scorched by the first heat wave or washed away by the first storm. And we don't want that to happen. This is where godly wisdom meets practical strategy. Trusting God doesn't mean that you skip market research. Because if you build it, it doesn't mean that they're going to come. See, Proverbs, the 21st chapter and the 5th verse puts it perfectly. The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. So faith is the architect, but diligence is the construction crew. So what does that look like? It means knowing your numbers, but seeing them through the lens of stewardship. It means identifying your target customer, understanding these are God's people that he is calling you to serve with excellence. It means setting goals through prayer with a mission that puts kingdom impact above worldly success. Let me say that one again. People over profit. And yes, it means putting in the work. Proverbs, the 10th chapter and the 4th verse says, lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands, they bring wealth. That diligence also includes rest. I'm going to say that one again. Rest, so that you have the energy for the work that he's called you to. Your business plan, your marketing strategy, and your legal foundation are the trellis that will support the vine as it grows. Ready for another action step? Here you go. Schedule a 1-hour greenhouse hour, if you would, this week. Use it to tackle one practical planning step that you've been avoiding. Whether it's drafting a budget, researching a competitor, or outlining your offer, I want you to identify that this week. Now, building all of this can feel incredibly overwhelming, especially when you feel like you're out in the wilderness by yourself. But you don't have to be. See, a huge part of building a solid foundation is community. You have to find support. You have to get wisdom. You have to have accountability. And you need a tribe or a group of people that get it, that they know your journey, and they know it can be lonely, but we need each other to go the distance. So I'm going to drop a link to a description where you can find a tribe, one that I have, in the comments. That you need to surround yourself with wise, supportive people. It is not a luxury. It's a biblical strategy for success. Now, you can also watch the other videos that I have in this Building a Faith-Based Business One Room at a Time series. That's going to help you too, because I've gone through all these different rooms. We happen to be in the nursery today. But you might say, hey, I want it in written form. Well, guess what? There is a book on the way. So start looking for that too. All right, let me move on to phase number 3 as we get moving in tendering those shoots that are now going to start coming. So you've nurtured the seed, which was step number 1. You've built the greenhouse, which was phase number 2. And now little green shoots are starting to poke through the soil. This is a phase 3, tending those tender shoots and navigating the first challenges of growth. This is where the storms will hit. See, you'll face pressure to cut ethical corners for a quick profit or the temptation to quit when you don't see results overnight. But Proverbs, the 24th chapter and the 16th verse reminds us, for though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again. See, failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the process. Perseverance is just a long obedience in the same direction. Let me say that one again. Perseverance is just a long obedience in the same direction. This is where your spiritual disciplines become your most powerful business tools. Prayer becomes your main strategy meeting. That's right. The Bible is your consultation with the ultimate CEO. James 1 and 5 tells us that if we lack wisdom, all we have to do is ask God, right? And he will give it to us liberally. See, every challenge is a new opportunity to depend on his wisdom. And in this phase, you must choose to be bold. 2 Timothy, the first chapter and the 7th verse, is that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of what? Power, love, and a sound mind. I know you said that with me. You have to learn to take your thoughts captive and realign them with God's promises. Like it says in Jeremiah 29:11. We like to quote it. He declares that his plans for us are for good and not for evil. He's given us hope and a future. So celebrate the small wins because the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. Ready for another action step? I want you to create your first 15. Okay. It's a routine for your workday. Before checking any emails or metrics, spend 15 minutes in prayer and scripture, turning anxieties into petitions and asking God for wisdom. Your first 15. All right. So is your business idea dying in the nursery? Or is it being trained in the exact place that God designed for it? See, the struggles, the silence, the slow growth, these aren't signs of God's absence. They're evidence of his active preparation. Don't despise the beginning. God is in the details of the dirt. So just like Joseph in prison and David in the wilderness, your nursery season is forging the character and the resilience that you will desperately need to manage the palace he has prepared for you. It's the nursery that you learn. It's in that nursery that you learn your identity is being a child of God, his child, not in your bottom line of your business. It's where you build a foundation of stewardship and integrity. And it's where you develop the spiritual muscles to persevere. So don't dare despise this season. Don't mistake training for failure because it's not. You need to commit your work to the Lord. You need to be diligent. You need to be faithful with the small things, right? The nursery isn't the end of your story. It's a necessary, holy, and powerful beginning of a foundation that was built to last. So I've got one final step for you, right? One action step. I want you to now look back at the fear that you wrote down at the very beginning. Now I want you to write one small faithful step that you can take this week to either nurture your seed, build your greenhouse, or tend to the growth, trusting God with the outcome. I'm Dr. Shante Haynes. I've been called the one-stop shop for faith-based coaches, authors, and speakers ready to 5X their income and their impact. I do it with systems, strategies, and spirit, and I'm helping you build your faith-based business one room at a time. I want you to go ahead and like this video and subscribe so that you can get more information in order to be that queenpreneur or kingdompreneur that you've been called to. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of the day. God bless.